The passing of Charlie Kirk highlights not only how far Donald Trump will go to use a moment for his own benefit, but also the ongoing failures of this administration. They've been presenting the capture of the suspect as if it were some brilliant victory, when in reality, key figures like Kash Patel only arrived late in the process and have a track record of missteps. On top of that, Trump has once again been caught pushing false claims, exposed by a verified police report that directly undercuts his narrative, and he's clearly unraveling over it. We'll break it all down in just a moment. But first, if you're finding value in our coverage, please take a second to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It really helps support our work.
On the right as well, we have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy. Although they want men and women sports, they want transgender for everyone, they want open borders. The worst thing that happened...
The kind of rhetoric we're hearing from Donald Trump right now is exactly why I've been outspoken against the idea that Democrats somehow owe a eulogy or public mourning for Charlie Kirk. That responsibility doesn't fall on us. We're not the gun lobby. We're not the ones blocking progress on policies that could actually reduce this epidemic of gun violence. And we're certainly not the ones fueling political extremism. Time and again, it's been the right that disproportionately encourages this kind of rhetoric, with Donald Trump himself setting the tone. In fact, right after the news broke, Jesse Waters went on air talking about war, and now Trump is essentially giving permission for his followers to act out in the name of retribution. What makes this even more troubling is that the actual political views of the alleged suspect have now been revealed, and they completely undercut Trump's claims. Before we get into the details of why his response is so unhinged, let's take a closer look at what he said in his latest interview, because it's deeply disturbing.
To her was unbelievable. And then he walks through, the knife is dripping blood and everything else. One thing I say, we have to have quick trials. Yeah. I call it quick trial, because in China, they do have quick trials, you know? They don't wait 6 years and
you start off guilty and you end up guilty in China.
Oh, it's terrible. What happens here is you go through 7, 8 years, and by the time it ends, and then they say, well, you know, he had a reason to do it because he wasn't treated right in grade school, and it's his teacher's fault, and it's the government's fault. That guy they should have a trial the following day, as far as...
But do you know that they said...
I mean, when you have somebody on tape, here's a guy on tape getting ready to... And then he did his thing. The whole thing is on tape. This should not be going on. This trial will go on... It'll start in 2, 3, 4 years. We have to have, in certain places that do it differently, they have what's called quick trial.
Donald Trump is now signaling to his supporters that seeking vengeance in the name of Charlie Kirk is acceptable, even going as far as to imply that, just like after January 6th, he would stand behind them. He's openly talking about swift trials for anyone who challenges him, language that raises serious concerns about due process and political targeting. At the same time, reports suggest the State Department is reviewing visas of people critical of Charlie Kirk, not just those making jokes about his passing. And while everyone can hold their own opinion on how people respond, let's be clear. Charlie Kirk was not the free speech champion he claimed to be. His campus events weren't about genuine debate. They were about trying to publicly embarrass young students for attention and profit. That's the reality. Meanwhile, Trump and his allies are pushing the narrative that this investigation is some kind of success story for them. But if you look closer, especially at the role of Kash Patel, the cracks start to show.
The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great, and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days.
This was a victory of law enforcement. This was the success of law enforcement. H, how Kash? What did you do? You just got to Utah. You've done nothing. His father turned him in. You played no role except for putting out misleading tweets and pushing conspiracies. And those conspiracies from Kash Patel, from Donald Trump, attacking the radical left for doing this, attacking transgender Americans for doing this, have blown up in their faces because of these reports right here. The Charlie Kirk assassin was a trans activist, is what the right says, but the ammo used was stamped TRN because it was manufactured by the bullet manufacturer Turin. And that, folks, that's how dumb the extreme Keith Edwards, a fellow YouTuber, also just posted that the alleged assailant is a registered independent. We also see him on Halloween looking like he is riding a blow-up costume of Donald Trump. All of this has now led Donald Trump and his allies to place blame on transgender Americans. That's where they jump, based on false reporting pushed by the right and repeated by Trump himself, as if somehow this tragedy should be used as a weapon against trans people. But the reality is clear. The suspect here was a young white man in Utah, the son of a police officer, who grew up around guns. This wasn't the liberal with blue hair caricature they wanted to push. And that's the point. Republicans had a picture in their heads of who they wished the shooter would be because it fit their political agenda. It's sad that so many of us, when these tragedies happen, have to hope and pray it wasn't someone from a marginalized group, because we know that if it is, Donald Trump and his allies will immediately seize on it as an excuse to unleash more hate. And the truth is, they were desperate for that here. They wanted it to be a trans person. They wanted it to be a person of color. That way, they could double down on their attacks, their bomb threats, their scapegoating, and their dangerous rhetoric. So no, don't demand that I mourn Charlie Kirk when his legacy is tied to demonizing minorities and teaching his followers to direct their anger at those groups. Spare me, especially now, as Donald Trump is using this moment not to unite or bring peace, but to escalate his rhetoric, even talking about new invasions in a Fox interview.
What's going to happen?
So, I think maybe I'll be the first to say it right now again. We're going to Memphis. Memphis is
That's the next city.
Deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. And the governor, Tennessee, the governor is happy. Deeply troubled. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington. I would have preferred going to Chicago. I had a man in the head of a big railroad. They're doing a merger, and he wanted to come see me and all that stuff. And I asked him, because, you know, it's one of the largest train companies, maybe the largest, so you can figure out who it is. Okay, Union Pacific. And he was in my office, and he started off 45 years ago with the railroad. It's such a great story. Sir, I'm a railroader. That's the kind of guy that should ride it, you know, as opposed to a Wall Street guy that destroys the railroad, but he's good financially, right? And he was a very impressive guy. And I said, so what do you think? Where should we go next as a city? Because we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do a few at a time. But we're going to straighten out the crime in these cities. He said, sir, Memphis would be good because he's on the board of FedEx. He said, when I walk 1 block to my hotel, they won't allow me to do it. They put me in an armored vehicle with bulletproof glass to take me 1 block. He said, it's so terrible. I said, let me ask you a question. So we're going to Memphis. I'm just announcing that now, and we'll straighten that out.
National Guard?
The National Guard
Okay.
and anybody else we need. And by the way, we'll bring in the military, too, if we need it. But National Guard. But Memphis is, look, it's a great music city. It's, you know, home of Elvis and everything else.
This is the state of the administration right now. Distraction, escalation, and a permission structure for doing whatever they want. Their push to lower our rhetoric is really about silencing scrutiny, and it's also a cover to pull attention away from the Epstein files. When Trump casually brings up quick trials, it isn't accidental. It's signaling. At the same time, we can't even trust our government to manage basic investigations. The FBI's response here has been a massive failure, and some people have tried to spin this into an anti-trans story, a dangerous misdirection. There's a deeper question about how the FBI has handled Epstein-related matters too, and Jared Moskowitz raised it directly. That's the line we'll follow next.
Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just following up on a little bit of what the ranking member was discussing, there was a significant event this week in which this committee has jurisdiction over. The Speaker of the House, the third highest ranking U.S. official, third in line to be the president, looked into the TV cameras and told us that the current president of the United States was an FBI informant. I consider that to be gigantic news. And I'm just curious, have we reached out to the FBI, to Kash Patel, to confirm whether the president was at any time an FBI informant? I only say that because the Speaker of the House obviously gets significant briefings. He gets briefings that we do not get as regular members. And so I think this is something that we need to hear definitively. Before Kash Patel comes, we should clear up. Maybe that we should send a letter to him to find out if the president was an informant. And if he was an informant, is that because he was working with the FBI after he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein? Did he turn because he got caught with Jeffrey Epstein? When you're an FBI informant, there are lots of questions about how you became an FBI informant. And then how long was he an FBI informant? When did his service to the FBI stop? Being a member of the deep state, when did he stop doing that? I mean, look, if a regular member had said this, I would discount it. But the Speaker of the House is the one who said it. And then he said afterwards, well, I may have misspoke. Well, what was his misspeak? Instead of informant, did he mean agent? I mean, what is the misspeak for informant? I mean, I don't know another word that we use when we're describing an FBI agent or FBI informant or undercover. I mean, what was the misspeak here? And if he was lying then, is he lying now? I'm just confused. Perhaps maybe the Speaker should come to our committee and tell us what he meant when he said that. It's just...
Point of order?
I'm still speaking.
Mr. Chairman?
I'm still speaking.
Is there a bill or an amendment on the floor?
I strike the last word. I'm allowed to finish my...
Gentlemen.
So, what do we actually know about Donald Trump's connection to the FBI? Because clearly their job isn't being carried out where it matters most. They failed to track down this suspect in time. Instead, we hear more about Trump's claims of involvement with the Bureau than real accountability. That raises serious questions, and we're going to keep asking them. We'll keep poking holes in their narratives and calling out the inconsistencies. And if you'd like to support this work, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and drop a blue heart in the comments if you made it to the end. And until next time, I will see you soon.